record this, so we are good to go. All right, so self-sabotage. Self-sabotage, is a hard topic because we hear the word self-sabotage and we instantly think of negativity, harsh connotations. And I just got home from recording my radio show, and I happened to do the show on the same topic. And the research that I did for the show is much like the research I did for this presentation. And self-sabotage comes at all different types of levels. And when I did the radio show, I was actually listing a lot of the things that I'm presenting to you today. And I think a lot of you are going to be really surprised when you hear what the definition of self-sabotage is. And a lot of it really boils down to negative self-perception, negative outlook on what your abilities are for anything. But since we're talking about weight loss, then we're going to focus this all on weight loss. But it really could encumber anything. It could encumber family relationship, it could encumber career, it could encumber finances, it can encumber education, it could encumber really anything at any level. But we're going to focus it all on weight loss, wellness, exercise. So the top thing that people that have self-sabotage type behavior display is negative self-talk, whether it's out loud or whether it's to themselves. And I'm actually going to read a list of negative self-talk, self-talk, self-talk statements that people make, and I see it all the time when people text me, when people talk to me, and right away it points to the self-sabotage. So some of them right out of the gate are, I can't do this. I'm going to fail anyways. I'm never going to be able to do this. This is way too hard for me. What's the point? I always gain it back. I don't think I can do this. This never worked for me. So those are all negative comments. And I certainly understand if you're somebody that has been through the ringer with weight loss and it's never worked for you before, or really with anything. But again, we're talking about weight loss. It's no doubt that your brain would go to negativity. But I'm here to tell you that changing your attitude and changing your perception, even if you have to fake it till you make it, is going to change your ability to change the path that you have for yourself. And I have seen it happen. I have actually directed some of you. And I don't really know if I'm kind of looking here at the list, and I don't want to pick on anybody, but I'm thinking of one person in particular that was always negative. It was always, I can't do this. I've never been able to do this. I can't. And I literally twisted her words every single time she would say that to me, until she finally understood that she could. And I would restate it. And you might even have caught that happen in some of our conversations, where I would say, if you keep saying that, it's going to happen. Stop stating it that way, because it will happen. And so signs of self-sabotage are self-doubt. And that boils down and spirals into low self-esteem. So the next big thing that points to behaviors of self-sabotage are fears. And that's the next big highlight that I'm going to talk about tonight, and that is fears. We all have fears, but oftentimes our fears encompass and spiral into us destroying our ability to succeed. And it's those fears of failure, fears of being judged, fears of making it almost to the end and then not achieving it, fears of others wondering why that person is again starting another diet. It's that whole fear of the unknown, and even the fear of what happens when I achieve this. Will I keep it off? And what happens when I achieve this? What will my life be like on that other side? From shopping to clothes to just your whole personality, your whole persona. And so those are some of the major points that we're gonna hit on, and also how can we avoid all of these things? Because the bottom line is if you can avoid them all, you're going to succeed in having a better outcome for your weight loss, or for whatever your goal or your destiny is. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and put my little presentation open, and my podcast will be out next week also, so you can kind of cross-reference all of that. So I will pop this open and there. All right. Perfect. All right. So avoiding self-sabotage. Are you your worst enemy? So if you read my book, and the Audible is available, but I'm not promoting it yet because Audible made me wait an entire month for them to review it, and they do not include chapter 8. So I'm not promoting it until they put chapter 8 in, and chapter 8 is an important chapter. So don't download it yet. But nonetheless, in my book, I have a chapter called The Wrecking Ball. And the wrecking ball is literally the big ball that comes in and destroys all of your hard work. It is something that swings. It's a cycle, and usually people that are self-sabotagers, it is cyclical. It is something that they do over and over and over in all different areas of their life. So let's see how we can avoid it. What is self-sabotage? It is active or inactive behaviors that are taken to prevent us from reaching our goals. Most people that do this don't realize that they're doing it. It's not like you wake up one day and decide you are going to derail yourself. I talk to people all the time, and believe me, you guys, I'm on this side of the weight loss spectrum right now, but I have helped so many people lose weight who I would have put my life on the line and swore up and down that they would be the one to never gain it back. And they did. And so no matter who you are and no matter what you say, when people say, oh no, I will never go back to my old habits, I can't help but say no one is exempt from that. Because it's no one is foolproof from slipping back. And it's not a matter of slipping into old habits. It's a matter of one little thing triggering you and causing this whole avalanche to occur. And it usually happens when you see a little increase in your weight. And that increase in your weight literally causes the unthinkable to occur. And that unthinkable is that wrecking ball. And if you're listening right now, and you've ever gained back weight, you know what I'm talking about. It's like you can't stop that wrecking ball. So let's identify these self-sabotaging behaviors. Negative thinking. Oftentimes people focus on the past. They always go back to that other diet. Well, the last time I did this, it lasted 5 months, and then I stopped losing weight, and then I gained it back. I hear that all the time. The last time I did this, blah blah blah. The last time I did this, it's always a comparison, and that's a natural knee-jerk reaction we have. But if you catch yourself doing that, you have to stop and say, this is a different situation. And that's not going to happen this time. This is a new uh, experience, and causing yourself to fall into that focus on the past thinking, you're going to uh, put your behaviors on that path. I'm sure you've heard me talk about, and not all of you have, but the whole concept of people think that they get stuck on a certain weight. It's a myth, it's a theory that people will say repeatedly time and time over again, where they've never been able to get past a certain number. That's a mental block. That's a focus on the past block. People think that they can't get past 145 pounds. So when they get to 145 pounds, they are focused on the fact that they've never been past it. And no matter what, there's self-sabotaging behavior that occurs, that contributes to the fact that they aren't getting past that number. So you have to shut that off. And I was stuck on a number for decades until I shut that off. So, and then there's Chicken Little syndrome. And Chicken Little syndrome is when you focus on all the work you have ahead of you. When you've lost X amount of pounds, but you're only thinking about what you have left. And that is a really, really dangerous syndrome to have. Because again, there's no doctor that would have made it through their medical school journey if they focused on all of the schooling that they had left. Instead, you should commend yourself for what you've achieved instead of focusing on what you have left. Again, glass half empty, glass full. You have to look at the positive. Fears of failure, we'll talk about, self-worth, and then of course, the all or nothing syndrome. So, negative self-talk. I discussed this briefly. The I can't do this, I'm going to fail, I've never been able to do this, it's too hard, I'm hopeless, what's the point, I don't think I can. And going back to the preschool days of the little, was it engine that said he couldn't do it, or I think I can, I think I can. I mean, that the whole positive mindset really does shed light on your journey. And so you have to plow through this with the thought that you are going to do this and you are going to achieve it. And every single one of you, I've told this is not going to be an easy journey. You should know there's going to be bumps in the road, but when you hit a bump, you can't say you're hopeless. You have to say, you got this. Otherwise, you're going to surrender to your weakness. And with weight loss, unfortunately, the weakness is usually cake. And you want it, and you're weak at that time. And so when you surrender to that, game is over. And so you have to stay focused on being positive. Throwing in the towel. The second you surrender to that weakness, people throw in the towel. And so with something like weight loss, like I said, you surrender to your weakness. So you get to a certain point in your journey where things get really tough. And I oftentimes will get this where someone will text me and say, I'm feeling like I can't continue this. And my response will be, okay, so what's the alternative? And I'll let them kind of answer me. And they'll say, well, I kind of miss eating my old way. So I'll say, okay, well then now if you go back to your old food, how long do you think you'll want to stay on your old lifestyle before you gain back that weight and you end up coming back to this lifestyle? And inevitably the answer is a couple days. So that's just somebody that wants to surrender to the weakness. They just want to take a little break and throw in the towel, but they really don't want to end it. So in that case, you have to step back and go, do I want to quit? Or do I just want to take a little mental break from this? And this is where I always talk about that diet vacation. You can take a vacation from your diet without throwing in the towel. And if you are a loyal member, this is going to be a huge thing I'm going to talk about on the 15th at our meeting, because you're not going to always be at high tide all the time. It's okay to take a little break from a vacation without throwing in the towel and going to the nearest buffet 7 days a week. Because inevitably you're going to end up back wanting this lifestyle again, because of that repetitive cycle. Surrendering to your weakness is what you always have to keep your mind away from wanting to do. So never throw in the towel, just use it to wipe off that sweat and keep going. And that's one of my favorite sayings. So negative self-talk, say you can do it, because that really does shift your mindset. The starting over thing, the not wanting, throwing in the towel and surrendering to your weakness. The bottom line is, most people enjoy feeling this way. Most people just can't stop focusing on how long they have to keep doing this. And oftentimes I'll tell people, don't worry about next month. Don't worry about 6 weeks from now. Don't worry about meal prepping in July. Don't worry about meal prepping in August. That seems so overwhelming. When you're starting something new or you've been in it for a while and you start stressing about, I can't do this anymore. It's too much. You want to throw in the towel? Think day by day. Day by day. Think today, think tomorrow. Don't think July, because then for sure you'll get overwhelmed. So, oh, there's a nice little typo. Face your fears is what it should say. So there's fears of judgment, fears of not being perfect, and fears of failing. And we all have these fears, of course. People that have lower self-esteem are going to display these fears in different ways. And more than likely, these fears are going to keep them from progressing. People that have higher self-esteem are going to plow right through them. They're going to be risk takers. They're not going to care what other people think. They're going to learn from their mistakes, and they're going to take their failures and wear them on their sleeve. And again, take every single failure and learn from it. So fear of being judged. Oftentimes when we diet, we worry that we get into it and we're worried about what others are going to say if we don't do a good job. Going on a diet is kind of a public thing. It's difficult to hide this from your family, from your friends. Typically, anytime you go on a diet, your closest family, at least friends, know that you're on it. And there's a fear of being judged. This is not something that you could typically hide. I've had people before tell me that they've wanted to hide it from their parents because their parents always come down on them for repeatedly dieting. It's a hard thing to hide. You need to not be afraid of being judged. You have to own it. Don't sugarcoat it, tell people you're doing it for your health, and don't worry about what others have to say. The bottom line is, I've been judged for being too healthy. I once had somebody ask me if I was worried that my heart was going to fall out of my chest, in those words, because I ran too much. And the person that asked me that was profoundly overweight and never worked out a day in her life. And I thought, interesting that you're worried about my health. So oftentimes people that are worried about being judged need to kind of step back and look at who's judging them, and that sometimes will help take the pressure off. As far as fear of not being perfect, there's no one that's perfect. And this is where the all or nothing syndrome comes in. Sometimes perfectionists use that as a protective shell, and they almost let that be, use that as an excuse, where is, if it's not perfect, then I'm not going to do it. If I didn't eat perfect today, then I'm going to eat garbage at night. And they almost set themselves up with that excuse of, I'm going to make it till 3 o'clock and stop logging. Therefore, every day at 3 o'clock, I start eating off track. And it's not so premeditated, but it is subconscious, and it is definitely a behavior that occurs day after day after day. Whereas if this person were to accept the fact that there's nobody that's perfect, and having a little deviance on their diet is going to lead them to better success, that would actually give them a much better outcome. So accepting that there is no such thing as perfectionism. And then, of course, fear of failure. Nobody likes to fail, and nobody likes to have other people watch them fail. But again, it's a chance you have to take, and learning from your mistakes is the best part of any journey. If you are a tier 1 person moving on to tier 2, or you're a tier 2 person moving on to tier 3, I had you, and once you register, you'll get this. You had to either email me or post acknowledgements and goals for the next program, the next 12 weeks. And I had somebody write me the most amazing acknowledgement, and I just read it, and it was this huge email, and she acknowledged everything that she thought she was doing right before she joined the program, that was actually causing derailment for her nutritionally. And she acknowledged that she was being a perfectionist, and it was actually causing her to not see success. The fact that she faced that, and faced the fact that she was failing from that is only going to bring her success. I mean, that was like the hugest hats off. So failing is part of life, and how you encompass it is really the determining factor to your success. So facing those fears straight ahead, there's no better way than to learn from your mistakes. So another huge factor in self-sabotage, and this is a really hard one to bring up and talk about, is lack of self-worth. When I do private therapy sessions with my clients, and I'm getting really deep into their psyche of why they repeatedly go back to gaining that weight. Many times they feel unworthy of it. They feel that they don't deserve it, for whatever reasons. Oftentimes they feel that it's too good to be true. And that too good to be true is so common with many of you. I hear it all the time, where you look at the scale, or you look at the label on your jeans and think, this is not going to last for sure. And the thoughts of that need to be shaken off. I mean, it's going to take a while for you to understand that it's true, but it is true. And that's where the whole get rid of your clothes, those big clothes in your closet. Where are you guys? You're never fitting into them again. You know, I mean, it's a security, of course, but it's almost a sabotage when you're keeping them. And the bottom line is this: truth behold, if you are keeping jeans that are 3 sizes too big, you are enabling yourself to fit into them. Because if you ever had to put those back on again, it would be a horrifying event. So we're not talking 1 size, we're talking 3 sizes. Get rid of them. It's too good to be true. It's true. You're not going to go back into that size. Accept it. Don't be negative. And it's a vicious cycle otherwise. Negative thoughts are going to bring high anxiety and poor performance. You know, you gain a pound, which is a little fluctuation. You guys have all seen it, which is going to cause anxiety, which is going to cause failure, because now you're eating off track. Now it's going to cause self-blame. Then it's going to cause self-esteem, which is going to cause more negative thoughts. Now those genes are starting to fit. And there's more anxiety, more failure, self-blame. And now you're back in the genes. Get rid of them. It's a cycle. Too good to be true. It's true. You have every right to think that the shoe's going to drop and you're going to lose it, but your inner thought should be, this is the new you, and you should embrace it. You earned it. You didn't win the lottery. This was not given to you. That kind of too good to be true should, of course, have those worrisome feelings, but you earned this. You worked hard to achieve it. And furthermore, you know how to lose a couple pounds if you did gain a couple pounds. You're in control. New mindset, new results. And of course, the all or nothing syndrome. There's all and there's nothing. Black and white. So it's so hard to live in the gray, but you really need to start merging those together, and be aware, be patient, make moderations, and be flexible. And I tell the story over and over again of repeatedly, I would make it to Thursday every week, Wednesday or Thursday, and I would get derailed by a cupcake or nachos or something. And instead of just eating it and logging it and saying, wow, Irene, you made it all the way to Thursday, rock star, and the cupcake's 300 calories, you deserve it, log it, move on with your day. I'm eating the cupcake and I'm literally on my phone ordering Chinese at the same time, because I'm that derailed, all or nothing. And it's Thursday, so it's pizza Friday, and I mean, it was just this constant cycle. And so the day I decided to log the cupcake and go home and have a normal dinner, and I wasn't off track, was just the biggest hallelujah moment. And it's not like it went away, it took a while. And same thing with the exercise. It was like, you miss Monday and then the whole week's gone. It doesn't work that way. It needs to have balance and moderation. And the older we get, the harder it is to be all or nothing. So if you are an all or nothing person, that should be a top priority to start implementing the clean slate rule. And it's really hard to do, especially if you had an oops early in the day and you're trying to clean slate it and start fresh at noon when ate something that's off track. But some people are really sensitive to what their definition is of off track. Off track could be, you know, 100 calories of a bad carb. To me, that is not off track. So you need to change what your mindset is also of what defines all or nothing, and practice that clean slate rule. And finally, weight loss is like a pendulum. It swings, and it has its high motivation, and it has its low. It's never consistent. The only time you're right here, where this little happy face is, right here, and this is the truth. The only time that you're right here is tier one, like week one, right? You're just so excited. And that is it. It's like bringing the puppy home that first night, and then not that you regret it, but it just then it gets real. And so what you have to realize is that there's highs and that there's lows, and that you need to ride the wave. When your motivation is low, that does not mean you should throw in the towel. New dieters, members that don't communicate with me, members that have their first lull in motivation, that stop texting me. They stop logging, they stop communicating, and they go back to their old habits. They assume that it's over, just like last time. I knew I couldn't do it, right? All that negativity. But what they don't realize is if they were to just hang on, that motivation swings back up. And it might not be high tide like it is day one, but it goes from low to high. And those of you that are here and have been with me for many months know that there has been times where it's high and it's low, and I have it all the time. My ambassadors that are mentors will tell you that they have all had that high and their lows. And so why that is important for you to understand is when you're having a low motivation, you should understand that it's temporary. And instead of saying game over, just like last time, here we go again, you should say, I got this. This is a lull. I'm going to get through this. I'm taking a little break from the intensity and ride it out until it swings back up. My cycles probably swing where I'm on a low motivation probably once every few months. I just know when I'm on a low motivation, I'm going to get out of it. Where years ago, when I was on a low motivation, I would gain 20 pounds. And so that's the difference. So I have this little analogy that I want to share, and I shared it with a new member last week, and she actually loved it so much that she went and got a little butterfly charm for her bracelet, which I thought was awesome. And I know I've shared this with other people before, but I talk about weight loss oftentimes like the uncatchable butterfly. And it's uncatchable because we allow it to escape. We are in control of that butterfly. When we want to catch the butterfly, we can catch the butterfly. We can go out, we run around until we catch the butterfly. When we capture it, we hold it in our hands and we hold it there for however long we want. And we can keep it there for months, and we can keep it there and hold it for however long we feel like holding it. But then when the going gets rough, just like with weight loss, and we start to lose momentum, we feel the wiggle of the butterfly, and we let it go. It starts to squirm out of our fingers. And this is the point where we say, I can't do it anymore. This is hard. Just like every other time, I can't do it. I can't. And we let it go. And this is where you surrender to your weakness. And as soon as you let it go, it's gone. And now you are just back to having to recapture it again and start all over. And so chasing that butterfly is basically what we have done our whole lives with weight loss. And unfortunately, what we do with weight loss is we spend all of our time running around chasing it. And when we finally have it in our hand, when it's secure, instead of embracing it and letting up on it, and when it gets hard and we want to just kind of let it go a little bit, we should just loosen our fingers a little bit and just let it wiggle in there instead of completely letting it go. Because if we completely let it go, then we have to exert all of this energy again to go out and find it and start all over again to just grab it and hold it and start all over. It's exhausting. So bottom line, don't let it go. Just keep it, but don't be so tight. Let up a little bit and know that it's going to always be that way. When I'm on my low, I've said this many times, I'm literally sitting on the couch eating potato chips, like I'm on a low right now. I don't even care. Like, who wants pizza? But I still weigh myself. I still make sure I'm not going over my little weight window. Um, but I know when that's happening, I literally like, I can't wait till I pass this funk. Where other people, I just don't hear from them. Months will go by. And I know some of you that just chimed in today, who I haven't heard from in months, are probably like, months will go by, 20 pounds will go by, and it doesn't have to be that extreme. Um, so the big message is um, shorter, shorter uh, uh, relapses or gives, those little diet vacations. Give yourself a break. Don't give up. Huge difference. Huge difference. A break is don't log, don't measure, keep weighing yourself, don't gain more than 2 or 3 pounds, don't beat yourself up, stay positive, keep telling yourself you're doing a great job. Don't go back into that thinking of game over, you did it again, nice job. See the differences? It really does make a difference. And every single time in the last 6 years that I've not gained back my weight, I have said to myself, it's not going to happen this time. I mean, I've had that mindset, and it makes a huge difference. That, and I have no clothes to fit into if I did gain weight back. So get rid of your clothes also. So, any questions? Questions, thoughts, concerns? Anybody after hearing this realize that they're more of a self-sabotager than they realized before? I think we all are to a certain extent. I think just prior experience of of things not working out the way we wished before, and then comparing it to the new experience. Of course, you're going to do that. But the facing of the fears is also a really big one, because no one wants to fail. But you have to face those fears, because there's no other way you'll get through it. So questions, comments? Nobody? Nothing. Anybody get rid of clothes lately? You got rid of them?
I put a bunch of jeans on a local moms group because I did have jeans 3 or 4 sizes too big, and they were just sitting in the closet. And I had bags packed for like 2 months for Goodwill that I dropped off, not the Goodwill bin, but like another donation bin. It's just time to do it. So
No, it is. It is. Can anybody relate to the comparing this weight loss journey to prior ones and always kind of waiting for the ball to drop? Like, all right, last time around now, I lost momentum. Anybody have that kind of relation? No? Well, that's good. Glad to hear that.
I think for me in the past, it was more pregnancy. I would have 4 kids and it would change your body and get you back. But that was just my experience.
Somebody posted, I don't see her on here right now. Laura, somebody from the group posted the book, The Secret, the other day. And in that book, there's a chapter that talks about your self-perception with weight loss. And I should have reread it before talking about it, but in there it talks about how if you perceive yourself as somebody that is going to lose weight, that you will actually be more successful at it. And if you wake up in the morning and you are somebody that thinks you can't lose weight, you're just unable to, you've never been able to, you just aren't somebody that can do it, your behaviors will change without you realizing it, and you won't be able to. So it's kind of like that same theory behind people that say they've hit a plateau and they really haven't. You expect that it's coming, and so you aren't as diligent with your measuring, with your logging. You lose your motivation a little bit, you're not exercising as much. So all those things are going to make a difference in your outcome. So
I know this is probably different, but one thing that I read it a few years ago, and I'm trying to remember, there's some Navy SEAL that always talks about how you should start your day accomplished by making your bed. And if you start your day accomplished, the rest of your day, you're going to want that sense of accomplishment. So like, I know as silly as it is, but me just having like my breakfast is made and being able to have like my workout done first thing in the morning, I always feel that it sets me up for that right track. And if I don't do that, that's when I feel like I start. Like it's nice to start off with a sense of accomplishment.
Well, it's just being organized, pretty much, you know, having that structure. You know. So. All right, you guys. Well, if nobody else has anything else to say, I will end our meeting. And like I said, nothing next week. But the week after we'll do the onboardings. I am going to record them all and put them up as well. And tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. live workout. Okay. All right, you guys, have a good night.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.